let's talk about the types of data available in business analytics. So data can be divided into mainly three types: structured data, semi-structured data, and unstructured data. So here we will be talking about few basics types of data. One is quantitative versus qualitative. So what is quantitative data? Quantitative data is the information that you can measure. It's a number, so sometimes you can count because it's countable. Example is how many people took part, how much did it cost, how long did it run, etc. So quantitative data is a structured data. It asks how much and how many. It is about statistical number. Next is qualitative data. Qualitative data is information about qualities. So it is uncountable. It is unstructured data also. It is descriptive in nature and it is non-statistical. Example of qualitative data is how they think it could be improved, what difference it has made to their lives, sharing what people like about a program, etc. Next is time series data. Time series data is a set of observation collected at usually discrete and equally spaced time interval. So equally spaced time interval is very much important in this type of data. The example is weekly sales figure of an ice cream company sold during holiday. Another one example is the sales turnover for a company in monthly basis, like the sales turnover in January, sales turnover in February. Like this we can calculate the sales turnover of entire year till December. So this is actually time series data. Next is cross-sectional data. Cross-sectional data are observations that come from different individuals or groups at a single point of time. At a single point of time, this term is very important here. So if we want to check the uh, inventory leftover or the stock out of a particular company in a particular date, that is cross-sectional data. Next is primary data. What is primary data? Primary data is a kind of data that is collected directly from the data sources without going through any existing sources. It is mostly collected specially for a research project or may be shared publicly to use for other research. So it is actually collected by directly meeting to the respondent through survey method. What are the pros of primary data? Primary data is specific to the needs of researcher at the moment of data collection. It is accurate because it is collected in real time. The researcher has full control over the data collected through primary research. What are the cons of primary data? Primary data is very expensive because we have to collect the data in real time, we have to meet the respondent, and we have to conduct the survey. Next is it is very much time consuming. It may not be feasible to collect primary data to some cases due to complexity and required commitment. Next is secondary data. What is secondary data? Secondary data is the data that has been collected in past by someone else who made available for others to use. It is actually available in the third party sources. We can collect the data from internet and we can do the analysis. There are usually once primary data which becomes secondary data when it used by a third party. What are the pros of secondary data? Secondary data is easily accessible and easily available. It is easily affordable. The time spent on collecting secondary data is usually very little compared to primary data. Secondary data makes it possible to carry out longitudinal studies without having to wait for a long time to draw conclusion. It helps to generate new insights into existing primary data. There are some cons also. The cons of secondary data are the secondary data may not be authentic and reliable because it is available on the internet. The researcher may have to deal with irrelevant data before finally finding the required data. Some of the secondary data are sometimes outdated because there is no replacement for that. Next, we will understand what is population and what is sample. A population is includes the elements from a data set, and a sample consists one or more observations drawn from the population. Let's understand in a better way. So from this diagram it is shown that these are the target population and this is my sample. So let's take an example. Like I want to know due to the COVID-19 scenario how the MBA students are liking the online classes. So my target population is MBA students and I am targeting a particular college, particular B school for collecting my data. So a particular B school is my sample. So we can say total uh, MBA student is my target population and a particular college's MBA students are my sample. Next is scale of measurement. There are mainly four scales of measurement: nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale and ratio scale. Nominal scale is the first level of measurement which actually talks about the non-numeric variables or the numbers that do not actually have any value. So the example for nominal scale are your category of gender, that is male or female. So characteristic of nominal scale are: a nominal scale variable is classified into two or more categories. In this measurement mechanism, the answer should fail either of these classes. It is qualitative in nature. The numbers are used here to identify the objects. The numbers do not define the object characteristic. The only permissible aspect of numbers is to the nominal scale is to count. Next is ordinal scale. This is the second level of measurement. This actually helps to understand the order relationships among the variable of observation. So this is also a qualitative data or categorical data. One of the best example is the relative ranking of the students in a class. So characteristic of ordinal data: the ordinal data scale shows the relative ranking of the variable. It identifies and describes the magnitude of a variable among with the information provided by nominal scale, ordinal scale. Given in the ranking of those variables, the interval properties are not known. The third type of scale is the interval scale. Interval scale classifies and order the measurement. It also specifies the distance between each interval on a specific scale or equivalent. Like we can say one example: the temperature difference between 60 degrees C and 70 degrees C is same as the temperature difference between 90 degrees C and 100 degrees C. So it actually talks about the interval. So in interval scale, there is no possibility of having absolute zero value. Some example of interval scale are Likert scale, NPS scale, bipolar matrix table. The characteristic of interval scales are: the interval scale is quantitative in nature. It allows calculating the mean median of the variable. To understand the difference between the variables, you can subtract the value between the variables. The interval scale is preferred scale in statistics as it helps in assigning any numerical value to arbitrary assessment such as feelings, calendar types, etc. The last one is ratio scale. It actually helps in understanding the observation which can have absolute zero value too. There is no significant difference between the interval scale and ratio scale. The only significant difference is that ratio scale has absolute zero value, but the interval scale doesn't have absolute zero value. The example of ratio scale are: the number of times you have visited the restaurant after the lockdown. It will have a particular numerical value. It can be absolute zero value too if you have not visited the restaurant yet. after the lockdown. Another example is years of education. If you're illiterate, you will have 0 years of education, so absolute zero value is possible. Thank you.